Good morning,
Good morning.
ladies. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I will be looking with one eye up because people will be joining usually first 10 minutes and then we're going to start. So good morning, everybody. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. It means a lot to me. Thank you for trusting me. And today we are starting with our first Zoom. It's going to be orientation. I'll explain you. Do you hear me well? That's the most important thing, in fact. Everybody hears me well. Good. Perfect. I will be explaining you today what is this method all about and how we're going to be learning in this particular course. And also, I will tell you a little bit about me. You probably already know about me because you probably know me from Instagram. And how's this method different and what it will have to offer to you and what it will have to offer to your clients. And we're also going to go through the first week of learning. From the very get-go, I'll ask you one most important thing. Some things are going to be repeating over and over and over again because human brain only adapts and processes 35% of information that is presented for the first time. So some things are going to sound like a broken record a little bit, but those are the things that I need you to bring to your subconscious, the things that I need you to know. And that's why I will have to put them from different angles. I will come from different sides, and I'm going to repeat them over and over again, right? The Zoom calls, we are going to have 5 of them. And the Zoom calls are available for you 4 months after you finished your training. So the training period plus 4 months, you're going to have plenty of time to listen. I will ask you to listen Zoom calls for at least 3 times. I promise you're going to miss information. There's going to be so much information because most of my girls are coming here. They expect one thing and they get 15 things. And they're like, "Whoa!" But I have ADD personally, so I know how mind runs away. So I dropped everything. I cut everything in tiny little pieces that you can bite, chew, digest, absorb, get nutrition from information, move forward. So although it's going to be a lot of information, it's going to be done by a person with ADD, which means I know how brain works and I know how brain learns and I'm going to bring it to you. You will learn everything as long as you're willing to do it. We're going to have 5 Zooms. Zoom is going to be orientation right now. Then we're going to have facial exercises. It's a huge part of this particular system because this is how we maintain our client base, client growth, and client visible results on the faces. We don't send them home without nothing. We make sure they know how to maintain what we have done. We'll talk about it. Then we're going to have a concentration exercise. It sounds irrelevant, but it's extremely relevant because we're people who work with our hands and we're touching people's faces. And if we don't know how to connect with them, you're not going to get results you're looking for. So we're going to have a constant, it's my favorite Zoom. It's most interesting Zoom. So we will be developing hard skills, how to do the facial, every move, why are we doing this move, how soft tissues work, how lymphatic works, how hard tissues work. And then you're going to have a soft skills. And soft skills, it's extra. Client communication. How do we receive the client for the first time? How do we question client? How we say goodbye to client? And how do we connect to the client? All that is extremely important. So you're going to have the whole facial from hello to goodbye. You're going to miss nothing. It's not going to be just you do this and that. This is how you receive them. This is how you say goodbye to them. Then the next Zoom is going to be a skincare Zoom. I find it extremely important. Even if you're LMT, it doesn't matter. You work through the skin and you need to know how skin works. And this facial is not about skin, it's about muscle. And it's about optimizing the utmost highest function of a soft and hard tissues. But we work through the skin, and skin is important. And I will give you my favorite things about skin and how to use them. And we're going to go through ingredients. And I think skincare is very important. Even if you're LMT, don't miss it. And the last Zoom is going to be social media, Instagram specifically, my favorite place on earth. and that built my business. I will tell you my story. I owe everything to exposure, and you will learn how I got where I am, and hopefully you're going to get wherever you want to be. In the beginning of every first Zoom, I always ask you, girls, this is what I need you to do. It's a little extra, but I need you to write down exactly what you want to get on a paper from this course. What is the goal of taking this course? Have to be written on paper. I promise you, if you're going to write it and if you're going to concentrate on it, you're going to achieve it and some more. What is my goal? You don't have to tell me your goal, by the way. You don't have to share it with me. Just have one. What is my goal for this course, for you? And I usually achieve it if person applies herself. Is for you to have a distinct difference in your business and your experience in this business before you got into the course and after. I need you to have this huge before and after situation. And of course, I want after to be much more pleasurable, much more lucrative, much more confident, much more settled, and so on and so forth. We are going to be spending next month together like this, literally. For the next months, you are my top priority people. No one is more important than you. Now, what I will ask you today to do, so we're going to have 3 things. We're going to go through all of them. Those are our Zooms, Sundays, 10 a.m. Let's say you cannot make a Zoom. We record it. By the way, we record it whether you can make the Zoom or you cannot make the Zoom. It doesn't make the difference. We're going to record it. We're recording it right now, and we're sending it to you for you to hear it over and over again. This is Zoom. Then we have a course curriculum. We're going to go through it right now. And we have very important part of this course. So course is 3 parts. WhatsApp chat. And I will ask everybody today, please girls, after the Zoom, write to me in Instagram and tell me, hi Helena, I'm on your course. May I please join the chat? I will send you a link. You're going to click on this link. Link is going to take you straight to the chat. What do we need the chat for? Chat is our communication. You're going to ask me questions. I'm going to send you links. I will be starting to send you links though tomorrow afternoon. You know why? Because it takes a while for people to come into the chat. And unfortunately, if you're last person in the WhatsApp chat, you don't see the conversation that happened before you. So I wait out for about 24 hours, a little longer, and then I start sending you whatever I need to send you. And I'm going to need to send you a lot. So it's going to be then. But right now, I need you to write to me, say, hey, Helena, I'm in your course. I'm sending you a link. All you girls have to do, click on that link. It takes you straight to the chat. Why do I need you in the chat? Because you can ask me questions. You will have questions. I'm going to send you links. And most importantly, girls, you're going to send me a little, tiny little videos of your work. So the way we work is, in the end of this course, we're going to certify you, and then I'm going to take your work and I'm going to put it on my social media to send you clients. For me, it's very important for you to make the money that you spend it on my course as soon as possible, and then some, for years to come. And this particular modality is made for you to be able to work in your 60s, in your 70s. My most mature student was 72 years old. And she can do this facial and produce results. My most mature student in facial exercises is 92 years old. Her name is Nora. She's anesthesiologist, and she lives in Colombia. But just say, like, I'm obsessed with her. That's why I always talk about her. 92 years old, 92 years old. The esthetician, 72 years old. So this modality was made to preserve your health, but a little bit further about that. Girls, so you're going to send me your videos, little tiny bits, and then I'm going to look through them very, very carefully. And I'm going to tell you, could you please correct this? In here, you wasn't sitting right. In here, your hands weren't moving right. It's not a criticism. We just bring in perfection into your technique. I'm sending you back these corrections, and I will send you sample how to do, how to send it. Remember, WhatsApp doesn't allow us more than 6 minutes. If you're going to try to upload 6 minutes, it's not going to work. So let's say you recorded 15 minutes. All you're going to do is you're going to take those 15 minutes, cut them in 3 portions, and send me 6, 6, and 3, right? Something like that. And I'm gonna assess your work. Girls, I'm not trying to be difficult, but if I don't see every single movement that you made and we haven't corrected, and I'm not sure that it's done correctly, I cannot certify you. Therefore, I cannot bring you in front of the people. Why? Because when I bring you in front of the people, I take half the responsibility for your skill up on myself. Because I tell to people, I train them. People say, how can you learn online? Really well. Really, really well. If somebody's watching every move you make, you can learn online just fine. You learn in your own pace. That WhatsApp is open 24/7. Clearly, if it's middle of the night in America and it's going to be middle of the day in Australia, because I usually have a lot in Australia, I'm going to answer you several hours later. But everybody, girls, shut off your WhatsApp notifications because the messages will be coming literally 24/7. So usually I ask for 24 hours to reply to message. It's never, ever, ever takes 24 hours. How I secure myself. God forbid, I lost connection. Anything can happen. You know that there is 24 hours of leeway for me. Although I jump on you and I answer you as soon as I see you. On Mondays, I have in-person classes. Those classes, I don't answer until I'm home. It's about 6 o'clock because those girls I can't leave. But the days when I take clients, I answer in between the clients. So the days that I take clients, it doesn't matter. In between the clients, I will answer you. But the Mondays, expect a little delay because I'm like saturated. I'm like in there. I'm with my girls and I cannot leave them. I cannot even think about anything else. I'm just there. Otherwise, I'm with you. So this is WhatsApp. You sending me, I'm in your WhatsApp. You get into, I send you link, you're in the WhatsApp, and we start communication. You're asking me questions. So many questions are already answered. They are in your course curriculum, but you never know what is next question. So you need to have that flexibility for me to answer your questions. Please don't ever think that question is stupid because very often I have it in WhatsApp. Helena, sorry for a stupid question. There is no such thing as a stupid question because if you don't have an answer to your question, you're not gonna give a perfect facial to the client because you're gonna be wondering. I don't need you to wonder. Let's say I answered your questions or usually I always say, did I answer your question? Just because I think I answered your question, it doesn't mean that you think I answered your question. So I will always ask you, have I answered your question? And if you feel like you're not completely sure and secure with the answer, tell me, could you please explain it again? And I will find other ways to explain. I am taking so many training on teachings and communication that I will find a way. I will find some way to get to you and to explain to you so you would understand because we all understand differently. This is what we need WhatsApp for. WhatsApp is extremely important. Unfortunately, in my experience, a lot of people don't join WhatsApp, and I think it's a stage fright. So out of 20 people who usually sign up for the course, and we usually close sign because I cannot monitor more than that, I'm lucky if 10 will join WhatsApp because it's a stage fright. But usually, all the people who come into the Zoom join, I mean physically, right now, join the WhatsApp. Girls, without WhatsApp, you don't have complete education. And clearly, I'm not going to certify. Please do not send me personal messages. We've blocked them. Everything has to be in our chat for many reasons. A, because I'm going to miss it. B, you need to develop skill of showing up in public. That because I will go a little bit forward and I will tell you that your success in today's day in our industry depends on three things, only three things. Number one, skill. You have to do a beautiful, perfect, a literate, gorgeous facial with a result in the end. It's like. Number two, attention. Right now, you don't know what I'm talking about, but the Zoom that we're going to have about attention will clear up so much in your brain. You'll be like, oh, really? You will see what's going to happen. And number three, girls, is exposure. Exposure is a must. Because even if you are the best esthetician in the whole wide world, but you're sitting in your little room and nobody knows about you, you deserve nobody. You're going to be broke. You're going to be unhappy. You're going to be unsatisfied, and you're not going to serve anybody. And the most important thing we do as a priestess of beauty, we will talk about her too later, we serve people. It's an honor and it's a privilege to serve. There is nothing better in the world. We're touching faces. We have privilege of touching faces. You can be the CEO of the most expensive, most exclusive company in the world. Try to touch person's face, they're going to slap you, right? They have no permission. We have permission to touch face. It's a privilege. But for that, we need to have faces to serve. And if you're hiding, you're never going to have enough faces to serve. So we developing skill of exposure, and we're going to talk about it separately. And it is scary in the beginning. It was scary for me. And I will tell you, I will take your hand, I will take you through it. How do we develop skill of exposure? It's really not that scary if somebody holds your hand. If you're doing it by yourself, it's mad scary, especially for a person like me, because I have anxiety. I have embedded anxiety. This is one of the things I have, ADD and anxiety. Not a great combination, but I figured out how to use it to my benefit, and I will share it with you. So we have our WhatsApp, and then we have our Zooms right here. And in the end of the Zoom, I will ask you to ask me. I will ask you, do you want to ask me questions? If you have, please do. If you don't, you don't. And then we have course curriculum. This is our third place. So we have 3 platforms, course curriculum, and then WhatsApp chat, and then Zooms, right? Only 3. That's all we have. Now, we're going to go into course curriculum right now, and I will explain you how to use it. It's very simple. Number one thing I want to ask you, please don't run ahead. Do not try to see all the videos ahead, because they will not make sense to you, you see. I have to explain to you why we are doing, what we are doing, why is this move done this way, what we are working on. If I'm not going to explain it to you, you're still going to be able to mimic me, but you're not going to have the same results, right? And then everybody's hands are different. Why also I need WhatsApp with you, because people with shorter nail beds like me gonna place hands like this. People with longer nail beds gonna place hands like this. Both are going to be correct, but we have to find a way for you to do it correctly. This is one of the reasons I need to see your videos also. We have to adapt movements for your hands, for your wrists. You will see most of you is not breathing properly when you work, and especially when you're learning. Breathing is very shallow, very superstitious. It's really bad for your brain, and it's terrible for your heart. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. But this is why I need also WhatsApp. I need WhatsApp to see you work, your hands. And also I will ask you to put a camera in the way so I see your posture. Although I have to be honest with you, by your wrists, I will be able to tell you, are you breathing or not? Are you sitting straight or not? Are you concentrating or not? Because the wrists show it all. The wrists they give out how people work, but they become very tight and up and tight, right? But I would love to see your posture also, because if you are looking for a long-lasting career in this business, without any illnesses, without cardiovascular illnesses, especially when you're going through the menopause, yours truly in here, thank God I knew how to breathe. Through the hot flashes, they can come anytime. They come while you're working. How you get out of them without damage to your body. We're going to go through it too, through the breathing. This modality is made for the clients, of course, but also for estheticians to preserve the health. We are women, we are working women, we are physically working women, with families, with children, with stress, with aging parents, with all of that. And we have to deliver and we have to serve. How? That's the question. And there is a way to do it, and we will be talking about it. So we have a course curriculum, girls. You're going to open it. Do not run ahead. Week 1, then we are learning week 1. Now, what's going to happen? I almost forgot to say the most important thing. What's going to happen if we already passed week 1, but you didn't record it week 1 because you were busy, you were tired, you had, I don't know, it doesn't matter. Nothing bad is going to happen. You're going to send it to me later. Just don't run ahead. You can be behind. I have no problem with it. Just don't run ahead. Because if you're going to learn wrong, that's it. I'm not going to be able to get it out from your hands. And for you to learn right, I have to explain to you why, what, when, how, and so on and so forth. It's a very simple, it's actually easy modality. It's simple modality, but you gotta understand it deeply, or you're not going to deliver. neither to yourself or to your clients. So don't run ahead, but if you're behind, what happens if, let's say, 4 months have passed by after you're learning and chat is already closed? And you say, oh my God, I really want to get certified because you came to your epiphany. Then you're going to write to me on Instagram and tell me, Helena, I took your course in 2025. It was March. I'll find you. No worries. But I didn't do it then. But I really would like to get certified. Start sending me videos. I will look through them. So I'm not shocking you. You're not breathless. But of course, I prefer you to go through the months of learning, sending me videos. And I will tell you why. Because of egregore. Who knows what egregore is? Egregore is an energetic entity that we develop when two or more people come together. There is a certain amount of energy that has its, I will send you a definition of egregore. Football teams have it, religious institutions have it. Anybody who comes together develop this energetic field. And in our case, in our Zooms, in chats, we have very friendly, well-wishing egregore, that energy that pushes you forward. Girls are wishing well to each other. And that's why you develop faster. It's like a little engine that makes you develop faster. I will ask you to drop all your Instagrams in our chat, and could you please follow each other? It's very important. Follow each other, support each other, comment on each other's there. And of course, I will follow you all. Because again, it develops that energetic field of progress for each individual when they're coming together. That's why I prefer you to do it now, because of egregore of the learning, right? But let's say something happened. Somebody wrote to me a couple of days ago. She said, I was out of it, also anxiety, divorce. So many things can happen. Or God willingly, you won a lottery and went around the world, which I would like to think in those ways better. You are going on a trip around the world, and when you came back, you want to start working again because you want to serve people. You come back to me, we're going to put you through, but I have to see every single move. That's the only thing. This is the only thing where I am difficult. If I don't see the move, I cannot certify you. I just can't. If you took my in-person course, unless I ask you to send me something, you don't have to send me nothing. So if you're about to take my in-person course and you have taken my in-person course, you don't have to send me anything because I was with you. I know how you work. And then I may ask you, could you please, this particular part, send me in a video? And then you do, and that's it, and we are done. But if you're strictly online, I'm going to see every single move. Okay, so we can agree on that. Okay. So now we're going to open our course curriculum. And this course curriculum is yours to keep. It's never, ever get closed, ever. Why? Because you might forgot something, you want to go back and check something 5 years later, God knows, it's there. The only thing that can happen to course curriculum is sometimes I change the models, I change the move because epiphany came to me and I thought, oh, I should have done it this way and they would understand it better that way. Then I go back to the blackboard, I re-record it and I replace the video. So if you come to the course and you say, oh, the videos were different last week, it's only because I found a better way and decided to replace it. So I constantly better it and better it and better it to my best ability, right? So you might find it a little different, but the course is going to be there. When you're going to get to the welcome part of the course, you're going to have PDFs in here. They are all printable PDFs. Definitely open and look at all of them. You can print them out. Benefits of Helena Pahava method. If clients will ask, why is this? What's the benefit? You're going to answer them. The second is going to be downloaded brochure. The whole course curriculum we put in brochure, in writing, and in pictures. Because some people learning better from tactile touch of that paper. I get that. So you can print it out and you're going to have brochure of everything. And in the end of the brochure, there is every move we make. In the end of actually the videos also, they're going to be one complete facial video, start to end, because in the beginning, it's really helpful to, with the music. So you kind of like look into it. Then we have health questionnaire. Girls, health questionnaire is a must. I see so many things done wrong on internet, on social media. Things are wrongly, poorly done. They clearly don't ask clients questions. And I have so many people who write to me. Unfortunately, I cannot answer to everybody, but I went for facial, now I'm swollen or something hurts. Health questionnaire is a must. For example, for lymphatic drainage, if person was, we're going to talk about lymphatic drainage today in detail, but let's say she was sick a week ago and she's feeling better now, but you don't know she was sick a week ago and her glands are still hold partial infection. If you're going to give her lymphatic drainage, you're going to reintroduce it again throughout her system, and boom, she's going to get sick again, right? So health questions, or I have right now 2 implants in my mouth. They've been placed a month ago. If you're going to massage intraoral to me, you're going to move them, I'm in trouble. We can also introduce infection in that way. So all the health questionnaires are there. Please print them out. It's important. The next one, we have pre-client visit health questionnaire. What does it mean? The health questionnaire that you have separately is what you ask them when you see them physically. But the pre-client is, for example, you don't want her to come and announce to you that she had fillers 2 weeks ago, because it's going to hinder your ability to give her a good facial. So you're going to send them that e-document, and they can file it in e-document also, and ask all the questions you need to know before she comes to your facial. So you're ready, right? So you're going to say, okay, let me strategize this. She just had a lip filler, but the rest of the face I can work on. In your brain, you already know how to receive her. Otherwise, you're going to be confused. After that, we have client consent. Consent is very important. And I will tell you why. Because these things you can print out and they can file it, or they can do it on e-document, on however you want. We especially make that way. Why consents are so important? How many times I have my students, because my clients, they know, but my students write to me and say, oh, somebody a couple of months ago, lovely student came to me and she says, you know, I had a client, I gave her facial, and after facial, she developed a fever, and she, you know, her tonsils were hurting and her head was hurting, and it was COVID was around, and she is in New Jersey. And she called her, so client calls to esthetician and say, after facial, I got sick. And I told to esthetician, did you ask her to do a COVID test? Because it sounds awful lot like COVID, and she is fatigued, and clearly enough, she had a COVID. Of course, she brought COVID to my student, right, to her esthetician. But this is, we have to accept it. This is the work we have. No matter what's going to happen to them next week after facial, they will think it's us. It's just what's going to happen. Recently, I had the other student from New York. The girl came to her. 3 days later, she developed a neck pain. She said it was from facial. And the girl writes to me, she said, oh my God, could it be? I said, think about it. Of course it can be. But she slept poorly. It's her problem. But girls, that consent form is going to just give you that little breathing space of people are not going to attribute to you something that you're not responsible for. One more example, last month class, the girl came, she said that she felt faint, she felt bad after the class. Well, the girl asked her, do you have blood pressure? Somehow she said she didn't. Apparently, she has a problem with blood pressure. If your client, you have it in your health questionnaire. If your client has a blood pressure, even in a dead of winter, we're not going to put the heated part underneath them because they're going to feel sick. It's going to elevate the blood pressure. She answers no, it's a winter. She put the heated part. Of course, when she stood up after an hour facial, she was feeling faint. Right? So we have to take that into consideration. Why is it so important? Because client is going to be okay, and you are going to develop anxiety, because if one after another comes after you like this for 32 years, like in my case, you become very uncomfortable, even when you know you're right. That consent form is going to protect you. We are all about protecting ourselves. And then we have a client schedule guide. Why did I did it in PDF? What does it mean? Very often girls are forgetting how often people can have this facial, and I put it in PDF format. And I will answer it to you today too. But I think it's very important for you to have something to look into. Basically, to answer it to you right away, they can have it once a week for 8 weeks, and then once a month for maintenance for 6 months, and then once a week for 8 weeks. So package of once a week can only be done twice a year. Then most regular, most common, it's once a month, all the time, consistently. This is what I do. This is what people come to me for, because I don't take packages. I don't have space in schedule. Then we can give them facial because they tend to be more expensive. You will understand later what I'm talking about. Once in 5 weeks, 6 weeks, up to once in 12 weeks. If she does facial exercises, you're still going to produce to her results. and she's going to find them on her face. Why? Because these facials, for example, I charge $500 for an hour of facial. This is my rate. But I know what I give them. And right now I'm booked until middle of 2026. And I think I'm going to stop taking clients because I'd rather teach. That's just my thing. I enjoy teaching very, very much, and I can handle my clients as much. So whoever's in New Jersey, I send my clients to my girls in New Jersey, in New York, I spread them. We will talk about also how to get yourself there, how to bring the prices up. But you also have people, young mothers, single mothers, young people who want to have this facial, but they cannot afford my prices physically. So what I need to do, I need to give them the kind of facial. Yes, they're going to pay me my full price. I'm not going down on the price. Sometimes I do, but I'll tell you why. It's with my old clients who supported me for a long, long time. But I'm going to give her the kind of facial that's going to cost her less than $200. Why? Because my facial is going to last her for 3 months. So it's more effective to come to me and pay me $500 that lasts for 3 months, then go to Hand and Stone Spa and pay them $175, and the facial is going to go away the next day, maximum day after. Do you see how we work in here? We produce results, right? So if they can't afford, they come rarer, and we equip them. We equip them not only with skincare, we equip them with exercises. I will teach you how to do it. All going to be done today. So much information. Don't get scared. Don't get confused. Everything is going to be sliced in a bite-sized pieces, and everything will be digested. In orientation, I just gonna give you the feel. What is it about? And then we are going to really observe it, right? So don't get. Yeah. So those are your printable brochures that you have to print out. You have to learn them. They're yours. Again, course will never close. Sometimes we add things, like something will come to my mind. I say, oh, we have to put it in text for them because otherwise they're not going to remember. So then we throw it in there, right? So the scheduling actually, we didn't have until last month because I realized girls forget and we'd rather do it in here. Then you have 4 weeks of learning. And as I told you, please don't run ahead. Just take 1 week. There's a lot. And learn that. Every single facial, it's the same facial, divided on 4 parts. And every part we learn for 1 week. We have lymphatic drainage part, and I will tell you why we started with it. Then we have the soft tissues of the face part. Then we have a buccal part, and then we have a completion. Right? Okay. So 4 parts, and each part is going to be learned separately for you to digest and understand. It's not only how your hands move, it's how you connect to the clients. It's you understanding how to do and why we are doing what we are doing. It's extremely important. Now, before I'm going to get to my first part, I'm going to quickly go through my notes. So I want to make sure I forgot absolutely nothing. Yes, I did. I showed you the course through how to work for it. So there is a printable PDFs. And then, and here, girls, because sometimes girls say, oh, I have only 1 week. No, you have all 4 weeks because in here you have a green button. Continue to week 1. And it's those green buttons that you're going to navigate through, forward or back, right? Then you're going to press on the week 1, and it's going to take you to week 2. It takes you right away to week 2. So they see the purple buttons underneath? Those what you press to go between the weeks. Those are your navigation, right? In welcome, it's a green button. It throws you at week 1, and in between the course, those are navigation. On top, you have lessons. You have welcome, lesson, and every week has a combined video for that week. All the movements together for that week. So far, is everything clear? Great. Moving forward. Answer to most common question. This we can do later. Okay. Who is this facial for? Everyone. Outside of people with acne. You cannot do this facial or any type of massage, any type of physical manual stimulation on people who are currently breaking out, they have acne. What happens if a woman is on her period and she has this spot? This is my spot, for example. And I always have my breakouts in there. No matter what is going to happen, it's normal. We're going to take her. We're just going to avoid that spot. We're not going to roll on that spot. We're going to go ahead, right? So those kind of like a topical and very localized breakouts that we know what they are, we're just going to avoid them. It's not a problem. But what if somebody comes with cystic acne? Well, we're not going to touch them. However, remember this. The first week of this modality, lymphatic drainage part, definitely do for people with acne. It flushes the toxic fluid out. So the first week you can incorporate, in fact, girls, you know what? Doesn't matter what facial I do, chemical peel I do. I will start with lymphatic drainage. Why? For her and for me. And I will tell you why for me. Because for you, it's going to be extremely important thing to do. Start everything with lymphatic drainage because it puts you, it gives you that stability because you breathe with them. Because you breathe with them. I'm going to send you now WhatsApp chat exercises for the hands that you will have to start your every facial with. Do not work with cold hands and do not work with cold brain. What does it mean? Do not walk into the room and start working. You have to prepare yourself for work. Warm up your hands, warm up your heart. You're touching people's faces. And you know what? It's the most intimate connection that human being can have to the other human being. I will ask you, and I will send you a link. There is an amazing book, very long book though, very crazy long book, 17 hours of book. I had it in so you can buy it on Amazon in a hardcover, and they have paperback, and now they have it on YouTube. You can listen for it completely for free. And I will send you the part that I need you to listen, but it's only 6 hours in there. It's called Body Keeps the Score. Guys, I will send you the link. It's extremely difficult, painful to read book about war veterans, children of sexual abuse and sex trafficking and so on and so on. Why do I need you to read that book? I will tell you glance right now so you can understand. There is only one part though, but I need you to understand human psyche. You're touching people's faces. There is a lady, her name is Marisa. And Marisa was a victim of sexual abuse since she was a very young lady. Marisa has developed terrible anxiety and other psychological problems. She was self-harming. She had so many issues. Her life was going in a really bad direction. But she wanted to help herself as much as she could. She went on medication and it didn't help. She went to psychotherapy and it didn't help. And one genius psychotherapist, God bless that person's heart, told her to get a massage. And Marisa went for massage. And it was the first time in her entire life that she felt connection, safe connection to another human being. It awakened something in her. So why do I want you to read this book? Because I want you to understand the scope and depth of the power, positive effect that you can have on another human being's life. It's colossal. Absolutely colossal. People come for beauty. They leave with regaining their life interest, hunger for life, and they believe they can. And they also start to believe in another human being's goodness and interest. We're going to talk about that too. How we pay attention to our clients, how we develop connection with them, because this modality needs collaboration between you and your client. If you don't collaborate, you're not going to get the full scope of this modality. You need to, and it's not coming to you naturally. Nobody teaches you how to do it in aesthetic school. Nobody taught me how to do it in aesthetic school. I learned it in completely different. And I went to 3. I went back in my country into aesthetic school, 2 schools in the United States. Nobody teaches you how to protect yourself, how to protect your body, how to breathe, and how to connect with the client, how to intake client. Nothing is taught. And that's why I started to look for it everywhere else. And I found it, and I'm going to share it with you. And you will see it's going to change completely experience of your practice, both for your clients, but most importantly, for yourself. For yourself is huge for me. Forgot to tell you, I'm a 3rd-generation esthetician, by the way, for those of you who don't know. My grandmother was esthetician, my mother was esthetician, is esthetician, well, was now, and I'm esthetician. I was sent by my family to a school of classical ballet, and I became professional classical ballet dancer and graduated from Academy of Choreography and became a ballet dancer in Republic of Georgia. I danced in our main theater, Facelift Theater. My family they had money because they were estheticians, the good ones. They wanted status. And back in our country, ballet was status. I really, honestly, I did wanted to disappoint my parents, and that's why I went to ballet school, but I always knew I'm going to come back to cosmetology because I loved it. I saw my grandmother getting her clients. I remember there was one woman, I just have her in my head. She got widowed. She got widowed like a day ago, 2 days ago, and she was like suicidal. And her friends told her, you have to go to Emma. My grandmother's name was Emma. And she came to her for facial. And I remember that woman changed entirely before and after facial. She was walking out, there was life to her. She came, she was barely alive. She was dead inside. She was gone. I don't know what my grandma did or told her, but I know that that woman, she like resurrected her. She was back alive. And when I saw that, I was like, this is the power. This is magic. This is magic. But my family they were not interested in me doing that, and they sent me, but I had to help. I had to help because it was family-owned business. So I had to do everything that everybody else did, but I had to be ballerina. Okay. So I graduated from academic choreography and I danced for a while, and then thank God I got the injury. I got the kind of injury that nobody could fix. It was Achilles. So I could come back to my family and say, okay, this is over. And now I'm going to be a proper esthetician. I went to aesthetic school and I did have diploma, but they wanted me to have it just in case. What if something happens? What if injury happened? And thank God it happened. And officially from age of 21 in United States, I got my license and I started to work as esthetician. I worked, I'm 51 now, so we have 30 years. And I worked first 18 years for my family and other places. And that was, it was like an army, you know, they really whipped me into the shape really well. And then I started to work for other places, big salons, small salons. And I noticed one thing. No one, even your own, I gave you a family. I worked for my own mother. Okay, just for you to know. I worked for her regular, I worked for her pregnant twice with pregnancy. No one, even your parents, care about your health and well-being. It is like how? Nobody really gives you a break. Nobody teaches you how to breathe. Nobody teaches you how to save your wrist. Nobody teaches you about your posture. Nobody teaches you that you must do exercises. You never should work with cold hands and cold brain also. And I always say cold heart because you have to prepare yourself. You know, there is a book that I adore, Little Prince by Antoine Saint-Exupéry. You probably love that book. And the little prince makes friends with a fox. And he has to leave her and has to come back. And fox is asking him, when you're going to come back? When you're going to come back? And little prince is asking her, why do you need to know when I'm coming back? And she said magic words. She said, so I could prepare my heart for it. You have to prepare your heart to meet somebody. That engagement, that energy starts way before your client stepped into the room. If it's going to start in a moment your client step into the room, you're not going to serve her correctly. You have to prepare yourself night before. You have to prepare yourself when you come to work. Your environment, your hands, your emotional escrow. And you have to learn how to leave your worries behind. We're going to learn that too. Everything prepares you for that connection. It's good for your client. It's amazing. It's really therapeutic and healing for your client, but it's also really, really good for yourself because thank you, love. I just saw it, Barbara. Thank you. Why do we do it? Because we need to heal ourselves while we give facials. Very quick story, my medical history. I know that it's oversharing, but you will understand where I'm coming from. As I told you, I have anxiety and panic attacks. And I had them for a very long time. But during the perimenopause, it's really exaggerated because your hormones are, and your brain goes with it. And what I realized that the only place in the whole world when I feel secure, sane, calm, collected, as one person, without fear, is when I work. Only with my clients and only with my students. It is insane how I've trained my body to be present with what I'm doing. It also really improves the quality of the facial on the client's face. Your presence. I always say, this is and I'm going to quote a lot of people. This is, I'm not quoting. it came to me as an epiphany, literally, that esthetician hands are expression of her intention. You cannot work without intention. You're going to have empty hands. Those hands don't deliver nothing. But if you express your intention through your hands and you're doing it correctly, now you have results. And now you heal yourself. So, number one part in this modality, I'm going to go a little forward, but we're going to go back to number one. Number one part in this modality, and number three, 1 and 3, we work in a parasympathetic nervous system. What it means, we work in a meditative state. We are meditating ourselves. Number one, lymphatic drainage. And number 3, buccal massage. We are completely, I'm terribly sorry, I have to admit a person. We work in a meditative state. And I will tell you how. Number 2 and number 4, they are just a little more allegro. There we go. They're a little more allegro, which means we are more, it's a little bit more physically, you're working. Number 1 is lymphatic drainage. And let's concentrate on lymphatic drainage right now. It is such an interesting modality. Now, how many estheticians I have in here? Who is esthetician and who is LMT? 2 estheticians, 3 estheticians, and the rest are LMT. But the rest is only Leanne. Leanne, darling, are you esthetician or LMT? You can bring your hand up. Are you esthetician? LMT.
I don't know what LMT is.
Licensed massage therapist.
No, I'm a licensed cosmetologist.
Oh, same thing.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, darling. Your license covers that. Girls, remember, it's very important. I'm gonna keep talking about it, that this is something that's so important for me. We are not doing lymphatic drainage. We're doing aesthetic lymphatic drainage. We are not doing buccal massage. We're doing aesthetic buccal massage. In reality, we're doing lymphatic drainage and buccal massage. But that verbiage is extremely important because people are going to come after you and going to say, oh, you're a cosmetologist or you're a beautician. I'm an esthetician. Yes, perfect. Girls, everybody who's esthetician, we're going to be then putting, the service in your website. Always remember, not only on the website, but also when you're going to go on Instagram. It's aesthetic lymphatic drainage and it's aesthetic buccal massage. Okay, let's agree on this right now. Because otherwise, other people are going to come to it and say, oh, but you're not licensed to do this and you're not licensed to do that. In reality, we are. Because if you're going to go to Department of State, Division of Licensing Services, regardless what state you're in, you're going to see that your license covers beautification of persons, neck, chest, and face, right? You have to work with beautification purpose in mind. So as estheticians, we're never going to say we're healing any pain because people will come with TMJ pain. Remember that? We're going to say we are working for beautification of human face, neck, and chest. And that gives you full legal right to perform everything you're going to perform. If you're going to say that you're healing lymphatic system or you're healing TMJ, temporomandibular joint, it's in contraction, then people can come after you and say, well, you don't do it, you're not licensed for it. But if you say aesthetic buccal massage and aesthetic lymphatic drainage, you perform the whole thing without any problems. Very often when you start to grow, other estheticians and other professionals, unfortunately, they come after you. I had one woman, she came after me, she told me, well, for this, you need to have 600 hours to this. I said, darling, you shouldn't be esthetician, you should be an accountant. All you care about is numbers. I care about serving people. So I just blocked her. I'll teach you how to do that to some people. But remember, you have to protect yourself always. You have consent form, you say proper verbiage, and then you're good to go, right? So far, any questions? Anybody need to unmute? Just bring the hand up. No? All good. Okay. So we are starting this course curriculum. We're going into our number 1 week's learning. I think it's extremely exciting and very pleasurable. This is the week when we learn how to become a water bender. I will explain you how. Because we're going to be moving lymphatic fluid from inside the soft tissues of the client's body, and you're going to feel how you bend the water, how you move the water. It's so satisfying. First part of our facial, we work in a meditative state in a parasympathetic nervous system. It will be very easy for you to get in there because you're going to be doing with the client. You have it in your course curriculum. Every single move that I will talk about right now, you have it explained in the course curriculum. I'm just taking you through it right now, so it wouldn't be new for you. Just for you to be accustomed with it. So you take in very deep breath, and you work in meditative state, and you're trying to feel her fluids when you're going to work with clavicle under clavicle. There is one exercise. So we have the book, Body Keeps the Score. Girls, spare your time. Listen, it's a difficult, painful book, but you will see how much power you have when you're going to get to Melissa's story. It's insane. Number two thing I want you to do, everything you're going to touch this week, and I mean everything. This is my glasses, this is the hairband. I want you to feel the texture of it. Feel the texture of it. What does it feel like? Is it cold? Is it warm? What is the difference between texture of metal and a paper? What is the difference between texture of person with a dehydrated skin and dry skin? There's a nuance. There's a nuance. It's not that obvious. There's slight nuance. When you're going to start touching everything and experiencing textures, you're going to be much better professional in a way that the tissue is going to start talking to you. You will be able to read the language of tissues. And you're really going to need it for intraoral buccal massage. You're really going to need it. You need to understand what tissues are lacking and what they need from you. And so it doesn't matter what you touch glass, it's cold. This one has like little ridges, and I touch it. I want to feel it. I want to experience it. Touch everything. If you have long nails, please cut them too short. It's not the most attractive way to look for a female, but as estheticians, this is the sacrifice we do for our profession and our clients. Please have short nails because nails prevent you feeling what you need to feel. In the first lymphatic drainage, you're going to need to feel how you move fluid. And that's why you need to do that exercise. So we're starting from lymphatic drainage. Why we are starting from lymphatic drainage? What is lymph? Let's talk about lymph. So we're going to take now serious medical content in a very plain human language. Our body, to function, has two circulatory systems. One is blood, right? And blood runs throughout your body, feeding all your tissues with nutrients and oxygen. If you have a bad blood flow, tissues start to die. Why? Because every cell has a little thing called celllet, mitochondria. It's a celllet. And mitochondria takes the blood, mixes it with the oxygen, and produces energetic current plus adenosine triphosphate. I have such hard time saying that, but you know what I'm talking about. Adenosine triphosphate. And adenosine triphosphate is the energy current that your cells have to prolong longevity of the cell. And for adenosine triphosphate to be made by mitochondria, what do we need? We need excellent blood flow. Without blood flow, there's going to be no energy in your cells, and your soft tissues are not going to be fed by blood. Our face, because we're facialists, it's a whole body, but we're going to concentrate this face, is made from many layers. We have a bone, we have deep subcutaneous fat tissue, we have deep fascia, we have muscle, we have medial fascia, we have superficial subcutaneous fat tissue, we have superficial muscle fibers, and then we have skin. We have layers on layers on layers on layers. But the most important layer that most people seem, I don't know, they miss it. What is that layer? Who knows? What is the most important layer? It's something that lies in between the layer, girls. It's space. It's space between the layers. It's through the space that blood flows into your tissues. Now you will ask me, how could we not have space? Well, if you have a lot of fibrotic tissue, you don't have as much space. What is fibrotic tissue? Overproduction of collagen and other extracellular matrix that makes glue-like material that sticks soft and hard tissues together. It's scar-like material, glue-like material. And once you have that in between your tissues, blood cannot flow properly. It's still going to flow there, because if blood is not going to flow, you're going to have gangrene. That piece is going to fall off of you. It's going to turn dark, 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 and fall off of you. Blood is still flowing, but it flows poorly. If blood is flowing poorly, what happens? Our mitochondria has nothing to work with. We don't produce the energy current that fits our cell. So far clear? So far we understand that? How do we come into the picture as a facialist? We bring blood manually towards the tissues, right? So far. So this is our blood. It has to flow, but blood is lucky. It has heart. Well, it's a mechanism. It's like engine, right? We have a second circulatory system in our body, and that's lymphatic system. And lymphatic system is a sewer of our body. What it does. Once you're going to comprehend it, it's going to be so simple. You'll understand why you're doing what you're doing. Lymphatic system through the vessels, because usually when we talk about lymphatic drainage in our profession, we talk about nodes, lymphatic nodes, the depots of filtration. But there is a whole process that's going on in there outside of depots of filtration. We have lymphatic capillaries. So when blood goes, it loses some liquid. It goes in extracellular fluid. From extracellular fluid, lymphatic capillaries, we are not in nodes yet, absorbing that fluid into them, putting into lymphatic vessels. Vessels are one-sided. They let the fluid out and they close, putting into lymphatic vessels. Vessels are important for us as estheticians. Lymphatic vessels are pushing the fluid in a very rhythmical way into lymphatic nodes, lymph node. This is our lymph node. In lymph node, that fluid goes through filtration. Not clean fluid goes back into extracellular matrix, and you reduce it through your kidneys and through the liver. Basically, you pee it out. And the rest of the fluid, the cleaned up fluid, goes back to give the blood, back to make the blood. So far, do we understand the mechanism of lymphatic? So if you have a good lymphatic drainage, you have a good sewer system. Everything that goes inside, the capillaries that get into the vessels in a rhythmical way push it to the depots. In a depot, we have processing center. The dirty fluid gets out of the body. The clean fluid goes back to the blood. So far we understand, right, girls? Yeah, any questions? Simple. Okay, how do we come into the picture? Why do we need to know it as estheticians? It sounds more medical. Well, because as estheticians, we can harm also, unfortunately. And you know, when people go to medical school, and I know somebody, I was married to the guy who was going through medical school while we were married. So I know how the process, and I had access to the books and everything. The first thing for medical doctors is don't harm. For whatever reason, nobody tells us that. Don't harm is the most important thing. After not harming, we go into fixing. If we are not working with lymphatic drainage correctly, we can harm person. Because while, let's say, the fluid is here, as I told you in the beginning, and it goes through the process of cleaning, clean fluid has to go to the blood, and dirty fluid has to be removed. If you're going to press on it, you're going to reintroduce infection, virus, back into the body. Or I had somebody, it was years ago, and I actually mentioned it in the curriculum. The girl came and she had two like tennis balls, and a little less, half a tennis ball, a little, 3/4. And I said, I never seen anything like this in my life. I was like, what's that? And she said, well, you know what? I went to lymphatic drainage massage, and this is what happened afterwards. And they told me it was normal. This is not normal. How did they do it? And she said they drained the face. Lymphatic drainage, as anything on the human body, we work from bottom up. We can't, if you're going to drain the face without opening the depots in your subclavicle and clavicle, which is the main depots of filtration of lymphatic fluid, it's going to accumulate in here. It's going to take weeks for you to reduce it. So we have to be, it's called Venus corner. And if you will forget about when Venus, what they really mean is a jugular vein, right? But I always tell my girls, remember Venus corner is a planet Venus, female planet, beauty, because all the fluid you want to bring in this corner and then you want to reduce. That way you're going to have a better result, right? So remember it's called Venus color, not because of the Venus, the lady, but because of the jugular vein. But if you're going to remember it well, you're going to reduce the fluid better, right? So how does it affect us? Many years ago, my son was doing bodybuilding. He still does, but the conversation happened many years ago. And he was gaining weight. You know how those boys are working? They gain weight and they shred and they gain and they shred and they develop muscle. That's the process. And he was he gained too much weight. And I said, Nick, what is going on? This is too much weight. Come on. And he said, genius phrase. He says, Mom, underneath a thick layer of snow, Lamborghini and your Honda Civic, I was driving Honda Civic then, and your Honda Civic, they look exactly the same way. What does it mean? When you have a fat on you, when something covers you, snow, fat, or lymphatic fluid, underneath that fluid, you don't see what the gorgeous features are hiding underneath. Also, the fluid that is stuck in those depots, because of why fluid could get stuck, by the way, poor posture, technique, right? Because the pipe is straight, right? Pipe is straight, the fluid is going to go. Pipe is bended, good luck pushing this fluid out. Poor posture is number one cause of poor lymphatic drainage on your face, on your neck, and on your clavicle, because it's all really concentrated right here. We can talk about it in a second. Poor diet, immobility, excess weight, and then, of course, something unfortunately that we don't have much power of, certain medications like prednisone. When a person comes to me and she's on the prednisone, I tell her right away, I will do my very best, but I'm not going to be very effective. I'm terribly sorry, but prednisone is going to, because it accumulates fluid to protect the tissues. There is a very clear function to prednisone. They want to accumulate the fluid around tissue to protect it because it serves as protection. But for us, it's very difficult to reduce that kind of fluid. The other fluid, because it's a poor posture, we'll teach them how to fix the posture, or because of poor diet, or because they don't drink enough fluid. By the way, don't give them, I will tell you that again, but don't give them a lot of water before this facial, because half of the facial she's going to spend in a bathroom. If she's super thirsty, she can't have sip of water, and then after facial she should drink a lot of water. But before facial, don't, because she's going to ask you all the time, may I go to bathroom, may I go to bathroom? Not a good thing for us. Be careful. So going back to lymphatic fluid, why is it important for us? Because underneath of snow, underneath of fat, underneath of excess fluid, those gorgeous features, you cannot see them properly. And it's bad for your skin, because that stuck fluid is usually made of waste, literally toxic waste that already been filtrated. So because we remember that lymphatic fluid travels through mechanism of the body, movement, literally movement, we can apply our energy and our movement to move that fluid away from the body. How are we doing it? We're doing it as a very first, it's very important, very, very first movement, because if you're going to start, let's say, with something else, the lymph nodules, they are placed very superficially. And if you press too much, instead of moving the fluids through the vessels and then into extracellular matrix, we burst the fluid. And then it's going to get reabsorbed and you're going to have no result. So lymphatic drainage is done with extremely light hand, like a feather. Anybody does Volter system? Volter system says it has to be like autumn leaf. And my grandmother was saying it has to be like a feather. Imagine it's like a feather. Your hands have to turn into the feather, she was saying, right? So it has to be done with a very light hand. Now, but before we do lymphatic fluid, we have to clean the face, right? We have to cleanse the face. Actually, in Europe, girls, we could do lymphatic fluid before cleansing. It was totally legal and accepted. In America, you cannot. You have to cleanse first. It's considered not hygienic. So the first cleanse has to be done quick And it has to be done with light hand. Quick with a light hand. Okay, girls, that's very important. Super fast. What towel do we use to rub the face? Cool. Cool to cold. Every process we do in this facial, cool to cold, because cold is contractive and heat is expensive. In a skincare, we want to expand the skin. And in this facial, we work on muscle, we want to contract the muscle. So the cold process through and through, right? Cool towel. And then we're going into lymphatic. We're going to put both hands on the chest, right? In the sternum. And we're going to ask the client to take a deep breath into her diaphragm while she's lying down. And then together, you're going to exhale. By the way, this is how you exhale goes. So you would breathe on the client, you go upwards. And you're gonna move your hand toward her feet. You have it in the course curriculum, you have it in the videos, but I just want to take you through it, towards her feet. 4 times for normal face types, 6 times for those of you who have a client who hold the fluid, never more than 8 times, even if the person is morbidly obese. Why? Because I did it. I was young esthetician, very eager to do things. And I had a client, she was in her 50s and I was in my 20s. Brain didn't activate it just yet. In my case, some people in 20s are very smart. I was not that smart. So the client is coming and she's like a balloon. She's from her 50s. She's very swollen. However, she barely has any wrinkles on her face because of it was. So when I saw her, and I was apprentice at that time, and I said, oh my God, I can do magic on her. I can, and girls, about 45 minutes, I was draining her and draining her and draining, and she fell asleep. She was fine, and I'm draining her and draining her. When she came, she told me, don't I look great for 51? She was my age exactly. She said, I don't have any wrinkles. And I was like, yes, but she didn't have any wrinkles, but she was completely deformed, right? The face. When she stood up, girls, she looked about 10 years older because I reduced a lot of fluid. She went to the bathroom a couple of times during the facial. And I took so much fluid out that went like this. And then lines start to show up. And I think I had a heart attack. I ran out and I said, I need help. I just made this woman look older. My mentor came and she looked like, yeah, I have a bottle of, wine and jar of pickle. By tomorrow, you're going to be the same way. Don't worry. It was just a fluid. And that's exactly what happened. The woman stayed as my client for many, many, many years until now. But I almost suffer a heart attack because when person goes on your table and after your facial looks 10 years older, it's a very, very unpleasant sight. Do not overdrain them, even if they have a ton of fluid and you know how to do it. Lymphatic fluid has to be drained carefully and gradually. Why? Because when we worked with the skin, we follow Langer's lines. There was a Professor Langer who discovered, the lines were always there, that our collagen and elastin fibers are placed in a certain way on the face, and the whole facial that you're going to learn is based on Langer's lines, so we won't overstretch it. However, if you have consistent, expensive pressure that is spherical in a human tissue, you're going to stretch the tissue. When does it happen? Weight gain, weight loss, childbirth. Childbirth is a great example. Consistent, progressive pressure over time in a spherical, not in a gradual, but in a spherical manner is going to stretch the skin. So when they have a lot of fluid, the skin is stretched. But as soon as you reduce the fluid, they look older. So as I told you, 4 times you're going to do for people who don't retain a ton of fluid, 6 times for somebody who clearly and obviously retains a lot of fluid. 8 times you're going to do for somebody who is literally morbidly obese. She's barely fits on your table. Then you go ahead and do it 8 times. Otherwise, you're not going to have any result. But never more than that, no matter what, right? Gradual reduction is the key. Plus, you're going to give them exercises that on a daily basis, it's going to be our next Zoom. They're going to learn how to do it for themselves. Okay? So remember that too. 8 times. While you're doing lymphatic drainage, you have to place yourself, and that's going to be in our third Zoom, in the parasympathetic nervous system. You're going to be in meditative state. You're going to inhale with her head up. And the whole facial, you have to breathe. This prepares her for a facial, this prepares you. Because mentally and emotionally, girls, we share so much information through our hands and through our fingers. If you're nervous wreck, she will feel it. If she's nervous wreck, you're going to feel it too, but we're going to talk about that later, how to reduce that, okay? But if you're nervous wreck, she will feel uncomfortable. She might not even know why. Like, how many times you had clients and you felt after they left, they were lovely people, they're smiling, they're generous, they're sweet, but they left and you're like, oh my God, that's it. I can't, that's it. I'm quitting, I can't. It's because you received her energy. 85% of communication is non-verbal. It's a scientifically proven fact. And when you're touching somebody's face, very intimate organ of expression, you see everything on the face. When they said you see on the face, on your hand you don't see it, on the face you see. You go straight in there, in the depths of the worries, insecurities, pain, and you take it out. It's gonna rub on you. How to protect yourself, we're gonna talk about it later, right? Because I don't want to give you too much information. I told you, this is a very different modality. It took me 30 years to put it together, and I need to deliver it to you in 1 month. So I'm going to give you in 10 little pieces. During lymphatic, and then after you did the chest, you're going to go under the clavicle, under the clavicles right here. Light hand, girls. And one more thing. I see it all the time. This is very often people do lymphatic drainage like this. Big mistake. I will be looking for it. Because lymphatic vessels are delivery method of lymphatic system, not nodes, not our filtration depots. They only filter. The vessels deliver. You don't want to push a node and leave the vessels alone. You want to push, slide, push. Imagine that lymphatic fluid is a 3-year-old child. If you're going to leave the hand of it, we don't know where it's going to end up. So we need to take the hand and say, we are going here, sweetie. We are going here. We are going here. Only that way it's safe. So you're going to come here and you're going to go underneath the clavicle and you're going to drain straight into armpits. There is a huge depots and you will be able to drain it. We're going to do 4 times underneath the clavicle and 4 times on the top of clavicle. Always remember venous corner. Again, venous, they meant vein. But I want you to think about it like a beauty corner, because everything you're going to do, you're going to bring back to venous corner and travel from the venous corner outwards, right? So you're going to be doing lymphatic drainage of the face. Next week, we're going to again bring to the venous corner and go outwards from the venous corner. And that's what's going to give you a result. Super light hand, always working from bottom up. You always drain from bottom up. Literally, we work everything on the face from bottom up. And control the fluid with very rhythmic. This is what lymphatic fluid really in our body was. Because remember, it has a valve that closes from one side. So it opens and closes. It allows release and closes. Cha, cha, cha. I want you to mimic it. Cha, cha. Light. And then one of the things that I'm going to be consistently watching for, do not remove the hands from client's face unless you have a towel to take or product to take. We always maintain contact. Always. We don't bring both hands out. We do 1 second, work. 1 second, work. At least one of your hands has to be on the client's face or head. We maintain contact consistently. This is a golden rule of massage, and we are not here to break it. How many times you see people do? On Allegro, you can do it in the end of the facial because you want to wake her up. But in the beginning, you want her to relax, to be in her parasympathetic nervous system. So what do? We maintain contact consistently, especially with lymphatic fluid, because you remember, 3-year-old kid, we cannot leave it. It's going to kill itself. So we have to hold the hand and walk with it consistently. It's very simple, especially if you're going to start feeling things, girls, after a while, you're going to start moving fluid and you feel the fluid underneath your fingers. That's why I told you to do that exercise. You actually feel how you're moving fluid. It's incredibly pleasant. When you're going to do underneath the clavicle, and then you go on top of clavicle, and then you're going to go underneath of mandibular. You're going to bring it to sternocleidomastoid, and then you're going to press on the sternocleidomastoid, bring it back to venous corner, and come out again. We bring in all this fluid to venous corner. This is how we get the best result because the jugular vein produces a lot of blood and it helps us to flush. So far, does it make sense? This is the number one thing we do in this modality. We clean quickly. We produce lymphatic fluid. Massage, it's not massage actually. Do you know lymphatic drainage? It's not a massage. It's just the lymphatic drainage. And we're doing that first because if we're going to miss this opportunity, we're not going to be able to drain. It's going to burst. Good luck moving fluid. So for you to move fluid, you have to do it as a number one thing. Very light hand. And from you, I require very deep breath because you're soothing her and you're soothing yourself. And as I told you, if not this, I would be like a real mess. That anxiety was tamed only in the beginning when I was working because I developed ability to really concentrate on what I'm feeling. Girls, it's such a meditative stage. It's a bliss. Half of your facial is a bliss for you. Forget the client. Client is going to melt. But half of the facial is going to be blissful for you. If it's not blissful for you, you didn't do your job correctly. You're not going to be able to produce something that you don't enjoy for 30, 40, 50 years. I mean, I've seen people doing it, but they all get sick. They get osteoporosis. They get, unfortunately, our people get a lot of cancers. But you know why? Because we put crappy materials on our palms, and over 30, 40 years, it soaks into your bloodstream. And we will talk about that too. Like we have to avoid some things, but also because we are nervous and we have to serve. It's very difficult to do it. It's counterintuitive to serve somebody when your brain is somewhere else. And how many times you gave facial and then you're like, you were in your local supermarket, you were in your laundry room, you were having conversation with your kids, you were doing 1,000 things. Physically, you were there. Emotionally, mentally, you were not there. Happened to everybody. Happened to me. Well, when you will collect yourself in one place, both physically, mentally, emotionally, you're going to produce much better facial. Just need to know how to do it. And I have exercise for that too. I just don't want to saturate you. That's why we have 5 Zooms, because we're going to go little by little. So after we are done with lymphatic drainage, we're going to work with the release of the fibrotic tissue on the chest, on the head, paying very close attention to occipital muscle because occipital frontalis muscle, and in between we have epicranial aponeurosis. Now, I want to talk about for a second epicranial aponeurosis, the bone. Girls, bone is everything. It's absolute carcass of our beauty. And unfortunately, with age, we lose the width of the bone. Bone gets thinner. Bone, girls, looks exactly, estheticians will understand me very easily, like a skin. It goes to disintegration, to desquamation process. Our keratinocytes, third layer, epidermal layer, goes up, starts in a square, goes into flat on top of the skin, and then it goes to desquamation process. It falls out, right? This is skin. We're going to be talking about it more deeply later, but just in a nutshell, it's a skin. Bone goes through the same process, girls. The cells come up, come to periosteum, the upper layer of the bone, and then go to desquamation process, and they go to extracellular matrix. Exactly the same mechanics. Unfortunately, with age, we lose bone, but we cannot reproduce the cells that rebuild the bone. And our skeleton, whole body, but we work with faces, shrinks. And once your skeleton width is shrunk, all the tissues of your body, of your face, they fall on it like oversized sheets on a small mattress, right? That aging. How do we age? We remember how we age. We age inward and downward. This is our age. Why? Because the bone shrinks and it cannot hold the soft tissues. Mechanically, it's very understandable, right? So far, any questions? What can we do as estheticians? Well, you can do fillers and you can Botox, but it doesn't look natural. We can talk about that too, but it doesn't look natural. But it has space to be. Okay, fine. But as estheticians, we can do something wonderful. We can give them massage of epicranial aponeurosis. Remember, we were talking about the mitochondria producing ATP, adenosine triphosphate. Well, the same thing happens in bones. It's called piezo, the process is called piezoelectricity. Adenosine triphosphate is electric current that keeps cells of the soft tissues alive. That we covered. But the bones have the same process, and it's called piezoelectricity, piezoelectric charge. What is that? When you apply pressure to modalities like human bone, stones, mountains, they produce cells called fibroblasts. Fibroblast cells eat up the old bone, produce new cells that rebuilds the bone again. And this is how we preserve the width of our bone, by pressure. So if you need to preserve the bone width, apply pressure on the bone during the facial. And always tell to your clients, any client, that they have to massage their own. Don't call it epicranial aponeurosis, call it head, right? Head or tendon helmet. They have to massage, but not like washing hair, like they have to move the soft tissues with the pressure on top of it. What are we doing? We're producing piezoelectric charge. Piezoelectric charge is going to produce fibroblast cells, and those cells are going to rebuild the bone, and we're not going to lose a lot of it. If the person has a lot of dental issues, like I do, for example, I lost a lot of bone, unfortunately, in my jawline because being a classical ballet dancer, I had to be skinny. I'm not built skinny. I'm built, So unfortunately, I was bulimic. I was severely bulimic. And you know what happens to bulimic people? The stomach juice hits the teeth. And I don't know how I survived it, but I lost so many teeth. And when you lose teeth, you cannot, I mean, I have implants. I have 2 more now. Why do we need to chew our food? Because with the pressure of the chewing to your natural teeth and natural roots, you produce what? Piezoelectricity, right? And it keeps your bones healthy. But if you're somebody like me, God forbid, I don't wish it on you, you lose a lot of bone because although I go and I get implants and I take care of myself really well right now, it's not the same thing, right? It's not the same thing. So if you have daughters and you notice something like watch them. Anorexia and bulimia is a real thing, and we are very good in hiding it. My family found out years after I've been doing it for years because we are very good in hiding it. But they were also not really watching. Watch carefully. Now, what happens if you have a client who is older and they have, well, we're going to be working later on that. What helps to bring piezoelectricity throughout your body? Now, somebody asked me this really lovely question. She said, well, if that's the truth, why do we only pressure it on your scalp and you don't put pressure on the face? Because on face in front of it, see, here we have a tendon helmet. It is all fibrotic tissue on top of periosteum. Here we have a soft tissues. If you're going to apply a lot of pressure on the soft tissues, we're going to be talking about it in the next week's curriculum, you're going to develop inflammation. Inflammation is going to develop fibrosis. Fibrosis is going to develop ptosis, so it's going to work against you. The good thing about it is when you work on a bone on your head, the electric charge is not localized. It runs everywhere, no matter what part of the body you're going to work on. That's why work with weights. Young girls, I know I have young girls in here, work with weights. Resistance training produces a piezoelectric charge and helps to rebuild your bones, right? Pressure, work with weights, work with the resistance bands, all of that is extremely healthy for you. Not only it's good for your muscles, but it's really fantastic for your bones. And when you're going to hit 50, some people start at 40s. I started it at 50s. Everybody's a little different. But once you enter perimenopausal stage, unfortunately, facial osteoporosis comes. It's a real thing. We lose bone on our faces, especially if you have dental issues. You will. And how you can help yourself? By massaging at least your epicranial aponeurosis. It's going to spread. Work with weights and work with resistant bands. So this is about piezoelectricity when you massage epicranial aponeurosis. One more thing you do. You bring the blood flow to periosteum. You create a space between the tissues and you release fibrotic connection. Fibroses are real and they're very, very aging. You see fibrosis in here on me right now. See the things that are kind of bending in. This is, and I work on it. So nature is going to work against you, unfortunately. But we have tools, natural tools that you're going to do on a daily basis to help yourself to restore. So all we do, girls, all we do in this facial, everything we do, we restore utmost function of a heart and soft tissues on the human face. Once we're going to restore utmost function of the tissue, the beauty is going to come inevitably because your tissue has health now. Unfortunately, estheticians, cosmetologists, I have acupuncturists, we cannot say it loud and clear. Massage therapists can, LMTs can. We cannot say it loud and clear, but keep always in your mind that there's going to be no beauty without health. And if we don't produce the healthy function of the tissue that we can do with those two hands, we're not going to achieve any kind of beautification. Maybe temporary, but not long term. In here, we work for a long term. In here, we have a project with the client that's going to last them forever. Of course, it's easier to go to plastic surgeon, very quickly shoot something into your face, but girls, it looks plastic. By the way, we are amazing for people who do plastic surgery and invasive therapies because we can make them look natural. We can bring blood flow back to the faces. We can make them alive. The faces look alive because you know how they look. I mean, not like this. You know what I'm talking. So when you work on the tissues and you bring the blood into it and you restore the function, they look great. They have the volume because look, if somebody lost already a lot of bone, we're not going to be able to recreate it. It's just not going to happen. So she's going to go and she's going to get her fillers. But what we can do, we can make those fillers look natural. And nobody goes to plastic surgeon to say, make me look like a cat or like Madame Tussauds fox figure. People go there to look naturally rejuvenated, right? And then they lose the senses and they have that, but they really want to look natural. So if somebody is like me, for example, I'm a great candidate. I don't do it, but maybe one day I will. I don't know. So far, I don't have a heart to do it. But if you lost a lot of bone in your jawline and you went and you got some filler, for example, it's great because you already lost a lot of bone. We cannot restore it. But then come to us 3 months later and we're going to massage you and we're going to make you look mobile and we're going to make you look youthful and we're going to make you look natural. Can we restore a lot of volume that's been lost? No. Can we take years away from human face? Yes. Yes. You know how? You make her look alive. Her face opens. The weight comes off. The fibrotic tissue is unstagnated. The fluid is reduced. And all of a sudden, the woman looks so much younger, so much brighter. And the most importantly, she feels so much better. And I always tell to my students, people come to me for facial, they leave me and they say, oh my God, I look so great. I expect her to look great. For me, it's not a big compliment. She paid me money to look great. Of course, she's going to look great. I mean, it's my job. My favorite compliment is, I absolutely love being in your presence. You make me feel like I lost years of pressure. You make me feel lighter. You make me feel alive. That is a real compliment because then she takes it to her family, she takes it to her community, and she spreads it. As females, we have such an impact, energetic impact on everything that goes on around us, right? So if you made a woman feel relaxed, happy, pretty, comfortable, she's going to spread it. So with those two hands, you can do a lot good in the world because you serve not only soft tissues, but very, very being of a soul. By being yourself relaxed. You know, stress is contagious, negativity is contagious, but guess what? Positivity, relaxation is also contagious. You just have to be stronger than the other person. And in here we learn how to be stronger, how to be centered, how to be relaxed, how to be focused. That's a separate Zoom. My favorite Zoom is focus. Focus is everything. And we learn how to obtain skill, right? Skill is very important. Focus, attention, and exposure. Because when you're good at something, you need to share it, or your gift is almost good for nothing. So who cares you're amazing in what you're doing if you have nobody to work on? Good for you. You need to have people that you can serve. And service as estheticians is our number one priority. But service not only of clients, but also of ourselves. There are two people in the room. I always say there is two people in the room, and you have to serve both of them, your client and yourself. And then you did your job. So number 1 week, we work on lymphatic drainage, always bottom up, always light hand. You breathe deeply. It's important during lymphatic drainage. The second thing we do in number 1 week, we release fibrosis, chest, epicranial aponeurosis, all of it. We have to release fibrosis, and then we're gonna rule neck, also to release fibrotic stagnation from the soft tissues of the neck. That's all I need you to learn this week, week number 1. Please don't run ahead. You will see. Once you understand, now when you're gonna go to the course curriculum, you will be like, oh, this was easy. It's no biggie. It was easy because you're already introduced to this. You understand what is the agenda, why we are doing it for, why we are not using strong hand on lymphatic drainage, why don't we leave lymphatic, because 3-year-old child. Why do we bring everything to the venous corner? Because the venous corner is a corner of the beauty. Now you're not going to forget to bring it to the venous corner and they take it from there. Right? So all that will be tiny little helpful tools for you. So when you're going to dive into the course curriculum, you will be like, oh, I remember that. That I remember. And it will become very easy to learn. Right? I will take your questions now. Barbara, you look like you have a question. I don't know. Maybe
I have a question. I wrote a question down. I was just curious about the course closure. You said it's indefinitely. Is that also like online and for in-person training?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
What's the difference between online and in-person training? If you take an in-person training, you have all this, it's yours, plus
Okay.
1 day of a personal training. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Everything that goes in person, everything that goes online goes in person. And yes, there is no such thing as a course closure. Unless, internet will break globally. I don't know what can happen. But we don't close the access to the course for our students. We don't.
Okay. Also, the video or the Zoom, when will that be available?
Today.
Okay.
So once I'm going to be done with you with the Zoom, because I'm technically terribly challenged, my team is going to take over and they're going to translate this video and they're going to send you email. Like yesterday, Leanne, I was trying to help Leanne with the email. I couldn't do it because I just can't. My team did it in 2 seconds. I just didn't want to do Saturday night. I didn't want it to touch people. You want to be. Then I said, no, I just can't. So yes, it's up to them, but they're going to do it today. It's going to happen today. Sunday, they're a little slower, but it's going to happen today. By evening, everybody's going to get the video. Yeah. It's going to come to you girls in email form. It's going to be email. And please listen to it on the background. You don't have to watch it. Oh, girls, I almost forgot. Sometimes, and you can say no very, very easily. Some people give consent, some people don't give consent. Only those of you who was on a video, not the ones who are listening, but who was on a video. This video might end up on the social media, pieces of it. Is it okay to put your images there? If not, we're going to blur them. I want to hear from everybody who is Barbara. It's okay. Leanne?
It's okay.
Okay. Sherry? Just bring the hand up or down. Do this or this. Okay, and I always credit the girls. So what I do is if you see your image in a video, your Instagram is going to be underneath with your name because it's also an exposure, right? Please don't forget, Leanne, you already are, we spoke yesterday, you're already in a WhatsApp, right? And Anna is already in a WhatsApp, but the rest of you, I don't have in my WhatsApp. So you need to write to me on Instagram, please. And it's a one-click situation. I'm sending you a link, even I can do it. And then you're gonna click on that link and you're gonna be in a chat. Chat is important. Don't miss the chat. Chat is important. What do we need for this week? We need 2 towels for you to learn. We need 1 cleanser, cream cleanser. My favorite cleansers, we're gonna go through it, but I love the cleansers. They have a ceramide, fatty acids, and cholesterols. We mimic lipid barrier over human skin. Ceramides, fatty acids, and cholesterol. And we need cold press grapeseed oil. That's it. In this modality, you need very few products. I'm not a big I love products, but I love very good, few natural products, and we will talk about it in our skincare Zoom. But for this week, you need only that. Girls, how many of you, bring your hands up, is already working on a settled back chair? No. Okay, this is something you're gonna need. Table that you work on is not as important as the chair that you sit on for your pelvis. Most of the estheticians develop tilted pelvis. Tilted pelvis is not a good thing because tilted pelvis is gonna bring you scoliosis, and scoliosis is gonna bring you facial asymmetry, right? So settled back chair allows you to balance your pelvis while you work. It's very important. I will send you measurements in our WhatsApp tomorrow evening. I'm not going to send you the link. By the way, everything that I recommend, I have nothing to do. I use the mentioned chair. It's incredible. I agree. Thank you. Exona, thank you so much. Everything that I recommend you, I don't make any money from. I recommend you as esthetician to esthetician or LMT or like that, right? So I'm not going to be sending you links. I'm going to be sending you pictures and measurements so you could purchase it, find the best price, right? It's very, because I hate when people sell inside the course. I take a lot of courses and a lot of sales happen within the course. It bugs me. For whatever reason, it bugs me. So for you not to feel that way, I'm going to be sending you a set of links, pictures, and then you're going to find them yourself. So we need a creamy cleanser, cholesterol, a fatty acid, ceramides, and then we need the oil, grapeseed oil, and we need a towel, cold towel. I cut my towels in half. I buy like hand towels and just cut them in half because I have such easier time working that way. And you're gonna have by far less laundry. You have half of laundry from the towels that way. It's really, really cool. I used 7th generation detergent to wash all my towels that I need to use because it's hypoallergenic and you want to be careful with people. You never know what they have allergies. And that's all you need for this week. That's all. You're also gonna need a gooseneck tripod, which I'm going to send you a picture, or I can send you a link, however you want to search for it. What is gooseneck tripod? It's a tripod that you can tilt like this and record yourself working, and tripod in here, and you see everything super good. Gooseneck tripod. I record everything on my phone, right? You can record everything on your phone. Your models could be your children, your husbands, your sons, your daughters, your parents. Doesn't matter who is your model. You can use every time different model and all the time the same model. It always doesn't matter. 18-year-old could be your model. It's really great prevention, by the way, for your clients, young people. They already have bruxism. They already have techniques. It's a great prevention for young people. It's a great restorative treatment to older people. Anybody is your client unless they have acne, and then you cannot massage them. That's the only thing now, right? So you can work on anybody. If nobody is available on Amazon, you can buy those plastic faces. Although I don't love it, I'll tell you right now, I don't find you. I want you to feel that human flash. It's something real special. But let's say nobody's available, get that thing and do it on it. But human flash is different. It's better. But ages, any ages. But make sure if it's an older person, make sure that if they have blood pressure, you have to prop them. For lymphatic, you're gonna hold them straight, and as soon as you're done breathing lymphatic, you're gonna prop them because usually they have blood pressure. Or woman in a menopause, for example, if she goes through the hot flashes, you don't want to have her like completely straight. Bring her up a little bit, for the blood pressure. Also, I don't love working with pregnant people. I know what the prejudice on my side, being myself mother of two. But you know what? I don't like to mess with the amniotic fluid production. So with a pregnant person, I would not give her lymphatic drainage. But the rest is fine. But lymphatic, I would. Right? So just be very careful, be very cautious, serve them well, start to develop connections. We're going to be talking about connections. Next week, probably, I want to switch those Zooms because it's just so important. Because your experience of being facialist is going to change once you know those little tricks. Like you're looking forward, you prepare yourself a night before. You know not to work with a cold hands, cold head, and cold heart. You warm up everything, you prepare yourself, and then the whole experience changes for you and for them. And your first part is going to be in parasympathetic, very meditative. That first breath is, make sure that you bring the breath into your diaphragm, up to your head. That alone puts you in a beautiful meditative state. You connect with the client. You will see your facial experience as a specialist will change. I guarantee you that. Just, I'm asking you for 1 month to trust me, because what I see a lot, we all do, I do it, take a lot of courses. I'm a course junkie. My husband always asks me, what course do you want for your birthday, for Christmas? What course do you want? Because he knows what I'm going to want. And we all experiment and we improvise, and I'm not going to do this part, but I'm going to do this part. Girls, I'm asking you, please do every part. Give me 1 month. And I'm going to give you completely different experience as a facialist. I collected this thing as a mosaic for 30 years, bit by bit. I still do. And in here, we apply not only our hands, we apply our mind, we apply our connection, we apply our heart, we apply our energy. This is just the beginning. It's just the beginning. We're going to go deeper, 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 deeper. And you will see that one day you're going to do the facial, you're going to look yourself in the mirror, and you're going to look rejuvenated. And now your job is done. When both you and her come out from that room rejuvenated. Because I don't believe that we need to sacrifice our health, our beauty, our wrists, our backs, our state of mind for our profession. It's no good for nobody. It's no good to, no sane human being want to be served by somebody who sacrifices. You want both to benefit. So when people say, well, so what's the Helena Pahava method? How is different? You seem to do everything like everybody else. No, I don't. I benefit both. It's just very difficult. When you do Instagram and when you do promotion, there is so much, it's difficult to translate it. But throughout this course, I'm going to be giving you, infusing you bit by bit. And definitely I'm going to be programming you for success. Just stick with me. Stick with me. Do what I ask. I don't ask for much. This week, I'm asking, feel everything that you do. Give a chance to book Body Keeps the Score. Even though in the beginning, it's not going to sound like it has anything to do with you. That Melissa part, because you have the pain of people, pain, and then the Melissa part, and you go like, my goodness, I'm a superhero. I have a superpower. I can make people have a lifetime worth of experience of relaxation, understanding, and connection. But that also has to serve you. You have the book. Excellent, Sherry. Excellent. So Sherry has the book. My sister, who is a clinical psychologist, she told me to get the book many, many years ago. Not for my work, actually, for myself, actually. And then, because as I told you, lots of anxiety, lots of issues, ADD, some bulimia, anorexia, you name it, I had it. And I'm not proud of it. I'm just sharing it with you for you to understand where I came from and where all this information came from. But I was always searcher. I was always seeker. I needed to help myself. And I knew that if I'm not going to help myself, I'm going to rub it to my kids, because my ancestral trauma is strong. And I just didn't want it to deliver it to the next generation. So I needed to clean myself. It was quite a ride. But my work really helped me, because I can relax and meditate, and I can serve others and myself in the same time. If you're a new esthetician, it's the best thing for you to do, because you're not going to sacrifice yourself. If you're somebody who did it for a long time in a different way, because we are so conditioned to serve, be sacrificial martyr. It doesn't work that way. We women, we age that way. right? So you always have to ask yourself, does this worth my rapid aging? Whenever you're nervous, whenever client is late, we're going to talk about client ethics, definitely. Late clients, and they have to put the deposit for it. We're going to have ethics course too, 100%. But today, as I told you, everything in a nutshell. Please trust me. Please, and I have a data of success. I have students upon students upon students who trusted me, who didn't try to improvise, who went by the system, who told me that their experience as estheticians is completely different, right? So please trust me. Body keeps the score. I'll send you link tomorrow. Settle back chair, send you link tomorrow. Your fingers, try to touch everything and start recording yourself. Gooseneck. If I told you I'm gonna send you something, and I forgot, because that happens, I'm human. Write to me in the WhatsApp, Helena, you forgot. Immediately, it's going to be satisfied. The video of today going to be sent to you by my team today through the email, and I'm always available for you. Thank you. I have to. Bye, sweetheart. I'm so sorry. We are almost done. Terribly sorry. I always take longer than I promise. Go. It's going to come to you. We are done. We are almost done. Yeah, you can find me on the WhatsApp. We are starting this work. It's going to be magical. I promise. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to let you all go. I'll see you next week. Thank you. Sorry for holding you back.